Romans chapter 13 verse 11 says, "And do this, understanding the present time." And do what? Well, Paul is speaking about the way that we love one another, the way that we love our neighbour as ourselves. And he's saying this action, this way of mutual living and giving and sharing and loving and laughing, this only makes sense, this only gathers significance if you understand the present time. And of course there's a way of understanding that section as if he's speaking about prophetic insight into the way the world is, understanding the present era, the present political situation. But there's another way of thinking about it first, where you think about just the reality check of how long you have to live. And I'm not being morbid here, but in Psalm 90 and verse 12, it says, "Teach us to number our days that we might gain a heart of wisdom." And Martin Luther said that we should live with the idea of dying constantly before our eyes. What do you think about that? It's folly to think that we're going to live forever. And if we continue in that way, we start to imagine that we can put off putting things straight to an indefinite future. So this whole concept is the ultimate reality check. I got a message on Twitter. It said, "Life is short, eternity is significant." And that's true. So our passage here, understanding the present time, meets this challenge head on. And he doesn't just leave it as a way where you sort of think about yourself and worry about your life. He says, in the light of this, your salvation is nearer than you thought it was. In the light of this, the way you look at the world, you need to love more intensely, live more intensely, and make the most, as he said on another occasion, of every possible circumstance. And he says, do you know what time it is? Well, first, it's time to wake up, because salvation is nearer to us now than when we first believed. Now, that's a reference to the second coming of Jesus. Jesus is coming again, and every day that we wake brings that day a little bit nearer. That's mathematics, isn't it? It's coming nearer. Your salvation, your ultimate, final, the ultimate day of salvation is nearer now than when you first believed in Jesus. And in the light of that world-shattering event when history comes to a full stop, it's time to wake up. Because the night is fading, the light of the dawn is just peeping over the horizon, and Jesus is coming soon. So, when that happens, it's time to wake up and get dressed. You know, when the dawn comes up, it's time to wake up and get dressed in the light of the return of Christ and the lateness of the hour. How should we then live? This is Paul's point here. And he suggests three answers to that question. There's something we must know. We must know how close salvation is. So what's the time he's talking about? What hour does he mean? You know the time, that the hour has come for you to wake up from sleep, for salvation is nearer to us now than when we first believed. The night is far gone, the day is at hand. Sounds like something out of C.S. Lewis, doesn't it? He's saying, the holiday is coming. So what time is he talking about? He means that this present sinful age, this system that we're involved in at the moment, this darkness is passing away, and it won't last forever. And Colossians 1 and 12 verse uses the image of darkness and light in many, many cases to describe the difference between not being a believer and being a believer. Again and again, so you are called from the dominion of darkness into the dominion of light. And this is the New Testament picture about what being saved looks like, and moving from darkness into light, and living in a kind of internally crippled state, and then one day a man stands over you and says, rise up and walk, and you move out of that disability into pure physical life. You move out of that night into light, into newness of day. And then he says the night is passing and the day is almost here. So he says, you know what time it is? It's time to wake up. You sleep at night, you don't sleep during the day, or you shouldn't. And all of us understand what that means. It's hard to sleep during the day. You know, when I've worked on a night shift, it's felt unnatural to sleep during the day. Day is for waking and working, night is for sleeping and dreaming. So why does he say the long night is over and the day has come? Because the coming of the Lord is at hand. So how near is it? You are not allowed to ask that question. He says, of the day or the hour, no one knows except the Father. That's what Jesus said. And so the whole question itself is illegitimate. But the living in the light of it is completely legitimate. He says that's how you should live. He said no one knows. Jesus said no one knows when the thief is going to come. If they did, then they would get themselves up and get ready. He says, but the Lord is returning at a time when you know not. So he says, so wake up, get dressed, and get into the program. Amen. May God bless you today.